Why don't we know Africa's moon goddesses? This question lingers in the shadows of history, where many of the continent's divine feminine figures have been obscured or lost altogether. Across Africa, from the vast Sahara to the lush Congo forests, there were once powerful lunar goddesses who ruled the night skies, embodied cycles of nature, and guided women through mysteries of life and death. Yet today, their names and stories are unfamiliar to many, overshadowed by the tides of time, colonization, and cultural erasure. Who were these moon goddesses, and why have they faded from memory? These are the questions we are about to explore. The answer lies tangled in the threads of history, culture, and power. Africa's rich spiritual heritage, particularly the reverence for feminine lunar deities, was deeply impacted by the arrival of colonial forces. European imperialism brought not only political domination, but also religious dogma that dismissed or demonized indigenous beliefs. The vibrant and complex pantheons, especially those centered around feminine energy and lunar cycles, were seen as threats to patriarchal norms and replaced with monotheistic religions that emphasized male gods. This systematic suppression contributed to the gradual erasure of these sacred goddesses from collective consciousness. The moon, long a symbol of intuition, cycles, and mystery, became a less visible force in popular narratives about African spirituality. Beyond colonization, patriarchy itself played a crucial role in silencing the voices of spiritual femininity. The lunar goddesses represented the rhythms of womanhood, fertility, and the unseen power of nature, elements that clashed with male-centered social structures. Their deep connection to cycles and intuition made them figures of reverence but also fear, leading to further marginalization. Over generations, their stories were relegated to the margins, preserved only in fragmented oral traditions or local practices hidden from mainstream history. This video promises to reclaim the lost names, stories, and sacred meanings of Africa's moon goddesses. We will journey through time and culture to unveil these divine figures, rediscovering the feminine lunar power that continues to pulse beneath the surface. By shining a light on these forgotten goddesses, we honor not only the past, but also the enduring legacy of feminine spirituality in Africa. The moon's glow, soft but unstoppable, will guide us as we reconnect with these ancient mysteries. The moon has long held a profound place in African cosmology, symbolizing much more than just a celestial body lighting up the night sky. Across the continent, the lunar feminine is deeply intertwined with themes of cycles, fertility, intuition, and mystery. These themes are not mere abstract ideas, but reflect the rhythms of life itself: birth, growth, death, and rebirth that govern both the natural world and human existence. The moon's waxing and waning phases mirror the cyclical nature of womanhood, making lunar deities powerful symbols of creation, transformation, and wisdom. In many African cultures, the moon's light is seen as a guide through darkness, both literal and metaphorical, illuminating the unseen realms of spirit and emotion. Central to the reverence of lunar goddesses is their intimate connection with fertility. The moon's monthly cycles closely align with the menstrual cycles of women, linking it directly to human reproduction and the continuation of life. This connection elevated moon goddesses to the status of life-givers and nurturers, often entrusted with the protection of women and children. Their influence extended beyond biology to encompass the fertility of the land, crops, and animals, underscoring the moon's role as a source of abundance and sustenance. This made lunar goddesses vital figures in agrarian societies, where survival depended on harmonious relationships between humans and nature. Intuition and mystery are also central qualities associated with the lunar feminine. Unlike the sun, which is bright, predictable, and overt, the moon's light is gentle, elusive, and ever-changing. This subtle illumination symbolizes hidden knowledge, the inner world, and spiritual insight, qualities traditionally attributed to women and their roles as keepers of wisdom. Moon goddesses often serve as intermediaries between the physical and spiritual worlds, guiding souls, revealing secrets, and offering protection against unseen dangers. Their presence in myths and rituals invites followers to embrace uncertainty, trust their instincts, and honor the cyclical flow of life and death. The reflection of these lunar themes in women's societal roles was evident across many African communities. Women were often the custodians of knowledge about birth, healing, and the spiritual realm. Areas intrinsically linked to the moon's symbolism, they led rituals that celebrated the lunar cycles, performed rites of passage tied to fertility and menstruation, and preserved oral traditions that kept the memory of the goddesses alive. This sacred work reinforced the social and spiritual importance of women, elevating their status as life-bearers and spiritual guides. However, this reverence varied in different societies, influenced by the interplay of local customs, gender dynamics, and historical shifts. Moon symbolism itself varies widely across Africa's diverse cultural landscapes, reflecting the continent's rich tapestry of beliefs. In West Africa, the moon is often associated with duality and balance, represented by goddesses like Mawu, who embodies the moon and the night, complementing the sun god Lisa. This pairing emphasizes the harmony of opposites, male and female, light and dark, life and death. Found at the heart of many African cosmologies. In Central Africa, particularly among Bantu-speaking peoples, lunar goddesses such as Mama Kenga are revered not only as celestial bodies, but as active participants in earthly affairs, governing fertility, protection, and healing. Among the Dogon of Mali, the moon holds a sacred place in their complex cosmology, linked to water spirits and women's mysteries, highlighting the moon's role in both the physical and metaphysical worlds. North African Berber traditions also reflect lunar reverence, where moon goddesses are intertwined with seasonal cycles and agricultural rites. In these regions, the moon's phases mark time and dictate the rhythm of farming activities, with goddesses embodying the nurturing forces of nature. Even in southern Africa, indigenous groups recognize the moon's influence over tides, weather, and human destiny, with feminine deities guiding community rituals to maintain balance and harmony. Despite regional differences, the unifying thread across African lunar traditions is the moon's embodiment of life's cyclical nature and the sacred feminine power. These goddesses are not distant mythic figures, but dynamic forces, deeply connected to the lived experiences of women and communities. They offer a lens through which to understand African spirituality, not as static dogma, but as a vibrant, evolving relationship between people, nature, and the cosmos. Through their stories and symbolism, lunar goddesses continue to inspire reverence for the mysterious and transformative power of the feminine in all its complexity. Across Africa, the moon's gentle glow has long been personified by goddesses whose stories carry the essence of cycles, fertility, mystery, and transformation. These divine figures, though powerful and revered in their own times, have largely been forgotten or overshadowed, yet their legacies remain etched in cultural memory and ritual, waiting to be rediscovered. Let's meet some of these hidden lunar goddesses, each embodying a unique aspect of the sacred feminine and the moon's timeless power. Mama Kenga, a prominent figure among the Bantu peoples of Central Africa, is one of the most evocative lunar goddesses, tied intimately to fertility and the nurturing forces of life. Her name, meaning Mother of the Moon, speaks to her dual role as a celestial guide and an earthbound protector of women and children. Mama Kenga's luminous presence is said to govern the cycles of the moon that mirror the cycles of women's bodies: menstruation, pregnancy, and birth. Through this divine connection, she became a symbol of regeneration and continuity, guiding families and communities through the challenges of growth and survival. Stories tell of how Mama Kenga's light calms storms and heals wounds, her silver glow a beacon for those navigating the uncertainties of life and death. Her worship was often intertwined with fertility rites, where women danced under the moonlight, invoking her blessing to ensure healthy offspring and abundant harvests. Moving northwest among the Dogon people of Mali, we encountered Jene, a lunar spirit shrouded in water and women's mysteries. Jene is not a straightforward goddess, but a complex, enigmatic presence whose powers flow like the rivers she commands. The Dogon, renowned for their intricate cosmology, hold Jene as a guardian of feminine secrets: birth, menstruation, and the invisible forces that shape life's unseen rhythms. Her association with water is deeply symbolic. Water, like the moon, is life-giving and transformative, capable of cleansing and renewing. Jene's role extends beyond fertility into realms of prophecy and spiritual insight, guiding women through rites of passage with her quiet strength. In the Dogon tradition, lunar cycles governed agricultural and social life, and Jene's influence was believed essential for maintaining harmony between earth and sky, body and spirit. Farther to the west, the Fan people of Benin honor Mawu, a moon goddess who forms one half of a divine cosmic balance. Mawu is often paired with Lisa, the sun god, together embodying the eternal dance of night and day, feminine and masculine, dark and light. This duality is central to the Fan worldview, emphasizing harmony and complementarity rather than opposition. Mawu's lunar aspect is gentle and nurturing, responsible for the cool night, dreams, and the mysteries hidden in shadows. As a twin deity, she is a symbol of cosmic order and balance, her cycles regulating time and space itself. Stories of Mawu emphasize her wisdom and benevolence as she watches over humanity with a mother's care, guiding souls through the night until the sun's return. Her worship often involves rituals at night, where followers seek clarity, protection, and renewal under her calming influence. Among the Akan people of Ghana, the moon is embodied by Ngame, a goddess who plays a profound role as both life creator and death judge. Unlike the more gentle lunar deities, Ngame's presence is fierce and authoritative, commanding respect through her control over the cycles of existence. She is a mediator between the worlds of the living and the dead, overseeing the passage of souls and ensuring cosmic justice. This duality, creation and judgment, places Ngame at the heart of Akan spiritual thought, where the moon's phases symbolize the continual flow of life, death, and rebirth. Her image is often associated with the reflective quality of the moon's surface, reminding followers to look within and confront their truths. In Akan tradition, rituals honoring Ngame blend solemnity with celebration, recognizing the sacredness of the transition between worlds and the power of transformation. The Yoruba goddess Yemọja is often celebrated as a mother figure and water deity, closely linked with the ocean and fertility. However, her ties to the moon run deeper than commonly understood. While Yemọja's solar and aquatic aspects are more widely recognized, ancient lore reveals her lunar connections as the guardian of women's cycles, intuition, and emotional tides. In Yoruba cosmology, the moon's changing phases parallel Yemọja's ability to nurture and cleanse, embodying the ebb and flow of life itself. She is known for her fierce protection of motherhood and childbirth, as well as her wisdom in guiding people through emotional and spiritual challenges. Though many modern interpretations focus on her as a river goddess, older traditions remember her as a moon goddess, whose power bridges sky and water, light and darkness. Her presence in rituals is marked by music, dance, and offerings, all underscored by the rhythms of the moon's passage. Beyond these better-known figures, Africa's vast cultural diversity hides many other lunar goddesses who have been eclipsed by history. In Congo traditions, lunar deities are often intertwined with ancestral spirits and fertility rites, serving as conduits between the living and the spiritual world. These goddesses govern the cycles of life and death, ensuring the continuity of family lines and community well-being. Similarly, in the Berber cultures of North Africa, the moon holds a sacred place in both mythology and daily life. Berber lunar goddesses are often linked to the seasons and agricultural cycles, their phases marking the time for planting and harvesting. They embody the nurturing qualities of the earth itself, protecting women and children while maintaining harmony with nature's rhythms. Though less documented in written records, these deities live on in oral traditions, songs, and rituals that preserve their power despite centuries of external influence. Each of these moon goddesses carries unique stories and attributes, yet they share a profound connection to the sacred feminine and the cycles that govern life. Their forgotten status is not a reflection of their importance, but rather the result of historical forces that sought to silence indigenous spiritual systems. By unearthing their stories, we not only honor these divine figures, but also reclaim a vital part of Africa's spiritual heritage. These goddesses remind us that the moon is more than a celestial body. It is a living symbol of transformation, intuition, and the enduring power of women's wisdom. As we remember Mama Kenga, Jene, Mawu, Ngame, Yemọja, and the many other hidden lunar goddesses scattered across Africa's cultural landscape, we awaken to the rich tapestry of feminine lunar spirituality. Their light still shines, soft but persistent, inviting us to reconnect with the mysteries of the night and the sacred cycles of life they embody. The stories of Africa's moon goddesses have not only been forgotten by time, but actively suppressed and erased by powerful forces throughout history. Colonial Christianity and Islam, both patriarchal religions, played central roles in this erasure, casting indigenous spiritual systems, and especially their feminine deities, as pagan, primitive, or even dangerous. When European missionaries and Islamic scholars arrived on the continent, they sought not just to convert populations, but to dismantle local belief systems that did not align with their own religious doctrines. Female deities, often symbols of fertility, cycles, and mystery, clashed with the male-centered hierarchies promoted by these religions. The lunar goddesses, who embodied feminine power and autonomy, were marginalized, demonized, or absorbed into sanitized versions of faith that stripped away their sacred identities. This process of suppression was not limited to religious conversion. It permeated education, governance, and cultural institutions. Indigenous knowledge about the moon goddesses was dismissed as superstition, and oral traditions began to fade under the pressure of colonial rule. Sacred rituals were outlawed or driven underground, forcing communities to conceal or alter their practices to avoid persecution. The gendered nature of this erasure is striking. While male gods and patriarchal figures were often retained or reinterpreted within new religious frameworks, female deities were more frequently excised or transformed into secondary figures. This contributed to a broader cultural amnesia, where the spiritual roles of women and the moon became obscured or erased altogether. In the modern era, the neglect continues, albeit in more subtle ways. Popular media, academic scholarship, and global discourse on spirituality often overlook indigenous African goddesses, focusing instead on male gods or more widely known mythologies. Films, books, and documentaries tend to highlight male heroes, kings, or warriors, sidelining the rich feminine divine that shaped African cosmologies. Even within African communities, post-colonial influences have sometimes led to the undervaluation of goddess traditions, as patriarchal norms introduced or reinforced by colonial rule take root. This results in a continuing invisibility of moon goddesses in cultural narratives and popular imagination. Additionally, many goddess traditions have been reinterpreted through Western or monotheistic lenses, stripping away their complexity and spiritual significance. Some female deities have been conflated with saints or demonized as witches, distorting their original meanings and roles. Others have been commercialized or romanticized without context, reducing profound spiritual figures to mere symbols or exotic curiosities. This reinterpretation not only diminishes the goddesses' sacred status, but also disconnects them from the communities and practices that nurtured their worship for centuries. Despite this shadow of erasure, there is a growing movement to reclaim and revive these goddess traditions. Scholars, artists, and spiritual leaders are working to rediscover the stories and significance of Africa's moon goddesses, restoring them to their rightful place in history and culture. By confronting the patriarchal erasure and challenging modern neglect, these efforts seek to honor the feminine divine and reestablish its vital role in African spirituality. Reclaiming these goddesses is not simply an act of historical recovery. It is a powerful step toward cultural healing, empowerment, and reconnection with ancestral wisdom that continues to shine through the darkness. Throughout Africa, the moon's cycles have long been intertwined with women's lives, marking the passage of time and the rhythms of fertility, birth, and renewal. Moon rituals were not simply religious acts. They were profound expressions of women's power, communal identity, and connection to nature. Menstruation rites, for example, were central to many African cultures, honoring the onset of womanhood as a sacred transformation linked to the moon's phases. These rites often involved ceremonies where girls were secluded, taught the mysteries of their bodies, and celebrated with songs, dances, and offerings under the moonlight. This sacred observance affirmed a young woman's connection to the lunar cycle and the divine feminine energy it represented, empowering her with knowledge and respect within her community. Fertility dances were another vital element of lunar worship. In numerous African societies, women gathered to perform rhythmic dances and chants during specific lunar phases, invoking the moon goddess's blessings for abundant crops, healthy children, and harmony within the family. These ceremonies celebrated life's cyclical nature and the moon's nurturing power, reinforcing women's role as life-bearers and caretakers of communal well-being. The energy of the moonlight, gentle yet potent, was believed to infuse these rituals with spiritual potency, linking the earthly and cosmic realms in a shared rhythm of growth and renewal. Oral traditions have played a crucial role in preserving the symbols and stories of lunar goddesses. Passed down from generation to generation by women, these narratives encode wisdom about the moon's cycles, the sacred feminine, and the mysteries of life and death. Through songs, folk tales, and proverbs, women maintained a living connection to their lunar deities, keeping their influence alive despite external pressures to forget. Symbols such as crescent moons, water, and cycles of nature appear repeatedly in these stories, serving as reminders of the goddess's presence and power. Even when written records are scarce, these oral traditions ensure that lunar worship continues in subtle and resilient ways. Women's knowledge of moon cycles still informs healing practices, agricultural calendars, and social rituals across Africa today. The moon remains a quiet yet powerful force, its rhythms deeply embedded in the fabric of women's lives and communal identity. By honoring these rituals and the oral heritage that sustains them, we recognize the enduring strength and sacredness of women's spiritual roles, intimately tied to the moon's eternal dance. The moon has always been more than just a celestial body in the African imagination. It is a symbol of life's endless cycles, feminine power, and hidden wisdom. The stories of Africa's moon goddesses, though forgotten by many, remind us of a world where women's intuition, mystery, and strength were celebrated as sacred forces shaping existence itself. These goddesses carried the rhythms of birth, death, and rebirth, guiding their communities through darkness with a gentle yet unwavering light. Their erasure from history speaks volumes about the forces of colonization and patriarchy that sought to silence the feminine divine. But their presence remains alive in the cycles of the moon, in oral traditions, and in the hearts of those who remember. Reclaiming these goddesses is more than an act of historical recovery. It is a reclaiming of power, identity, and spirituality. By honoring the hidden moon goddesses of Africa, we reconnect with ancient wisdom that continues to influence life, culture, and spirituality today. The moon's glow invites us to embrace mystery, trust our intuition, and recognize the sacred cycles that govern all living things. In this way, the feminine lunar energy shines not only as a relic of the past, but as a vibrant force in the present and future. If you found this journey illuminating, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts below. Together, let's continue to explore and honor the hidden stories that shape our world.